Good afternoon. This is Adam Small with the Agent Sauce Real Estate Marketing Podcast. With me today is Doug Carr from DK New Media.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Doug. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Good. So listen, I've been thinking a lot, right, about some things that I get asked about a lot, and some of the excitement that I see when realtors find out about our Agent Sauce product, right? And I was thinking what I see a lot, and I don't know if you're familiar with this term or not, but it is what I like to call silver bullet marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the concept of I found this one technology, this one thing, and if I do this one thing, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yep,
Right?
Absolutely. Happens every day.
Exactly. You run your own marketing agency, so I'm sure you run into clients all the time that think, hey, look, if I do this and this alone, it's going to work for me, And
Yep.
So from my perspective,
Well, not only that, but you have the salespeople telling you that too.
Right.
So
Well,
everybody that's got an app out there, it's the best app in the world, and
it's going to solve your
Yeah.
problems, and you're going to have to sit back and do nothing while it does all the work for you, right?
Right.
Right. So, I kind of run into that quite a bit with real estate agents, some new, some experienced. And, I think some of them are struggling at times, because real estate's not an easy industry.
Right.
So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit today and kind of explore what is the silver bullet, if there is one, and, what can you do to kind of overcome that?
I love that. And, there's also the shiny syndrome too, right? The new application. There's the silver bullet, the people, and then there's that shiny, this new app does everything just
Right.
because it's new.
Right.
And we hit both of those, with our clients, and it's tough. I think for one thing, there is no such thing.
Right. I would totally agree.
Yeah.
Just get
Just
that
put it
out
out.
there and end that conversation right off the bat, right?
And two, marketing takes effort. Marketing and sales takes effort and time, period.
Right. It's literally marketing.
Yeah.
It's effort over time is what
Yeah.
it is.
And I don't care what platform you have. I mean, the role of technology is always to ease some of the automation and pain that you go through.
Right. The technology is not going to do the work for you.
Exactly.
You have to make technology work for you. When I was chief information officer for a company, I used to say, technology is supposed to be an enabler, not a disabler.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for marketing. It has to enable you to do your marketing better.
Right.
It's not going to do it for you.
Right.
Right. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and take any two real estate agents. Any two real estate agents probably sell a little bit different. Maybe they focus on.
Well, they have different clientele,
Yeah.
different areas that they focus on. Even the cost of the home. Some of them will only do premium homes. Multi-million-dollar homes. Others, I've known many that do $20,000, $30,000 homes. In more depressed areas.
So if they're creating emails in Agent Sauce, one is going to have different pictures, different photos, different verbiage, different, things about. One might focus on luxury things, and the other might focus on practical things. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's the effort side, right?
Right.
That you can make the engine, help automate the process and everything else.
You can make it easy to drag and drop
Yeah.
the photos in there and arrange it, make it look nice and pretty.
Yeah.
But in the end, you still have to put the effort into doing
Right.
it. Right.
Right. And I think a lot of people get this symptom that once they start working with a platform over time, the nuances of that platform, the little quirks start to bother them or whatever.
Right.
And so then when someone else brings a new platform along,
Right.
they go, oh my gosh, I got to get this. I got to get
Right.
this. It's so
Right.
much better than what I'm using now. And then they sign, they get the new platform.
And then learn the nuances
They-
and
and
quirks
they
of
figure
that
out
one,
the-
right?
yeah,
So,
exactly.
But,
Well, but you
it's
guys
along those
listen
lines,
to-
right?
I mean, the thing is what you guys try to do is you listen to all of your clients, and based on their feedback, you continue to.
It's a continuous improvement
Yeah.
model. Absolutely.
And so it's not. It is. You are trying to cover the most people and provide the most features for the most people, but that doesn't mean that you have some unique person out there that's just looking for one wacky feature or whatever.
Right, exactly.
And maybe you can't serve them. Maybe they got to go with something else.
Right.
But
So, it's a funny thing. Over the years, we've seen a lot of technologies come and go.
Yeah.
And some stick around. They just kind of lose the shiny, like you're talking about, or they lose the silver bullet piece, and they kind of become mainstream
Yeah.
or commodity, if you will. I'm thinking in particular One that started out as shiny and new and all that was virtual tours for homes, 20 years ago, whatever. They started coming out and making it real big, and everybody was like, oh wow, shiny and new, that's going to be my silver bullet and all that. And the thing is they managed to stick around. They're still great marketing tools. Some of them are absolutely gorgeous, others not so much. But they're a great marketing tool because they allow somebody to look at the pictures and
see the inside of a house when they're there.
Exactly, and really get a feel for whether or not they want to see it. At the same time, another technology that came around was a few years back, the Microsoft tags. Do you remember those are kind of like the QR codes, right? And let's be honest, Microsoft had a really great platform behind it because you could identify a lot of information with that tag for lead generation and all that, but they never really caught on, And I remember I was in at an event talking to a fella, and he was telling us that our entire platform was just going to get shut under and shut out by the Microsoft tag. He said that with Microsoft behind it, their deep pockets and all that,
like Bing.
Exactly. There's no way it could fail, and that we might as well just hang up shop now. And so they've been gone for a while now. Right. That was kind of the silver bullet mentality on his part, and in part the shiny mentality too.
And I think people underestimate sometimes when a new product comes out, especially if it's a startup that gets a lot of investment money. There's a lot of marketing and sales pressure put behind those people to sign up as many people as they possibly can, as quick as possible, and then try to iron out the problems later.
Right.
And so that's the other problem with shiny objects is, you take and I know that this isn't a promotion for Agent Sauce, but you take a platform like yours that is organically grown over time.
Right.
And what we mean by organic is you didn't go out there and buy people to, pay $1,000 a user on pay-per-click to try to get someone to sign up and everything else. You grew by word of mouth and by people utilizing it and referrals and then real estate agencies that have multiple users, users coming in and out, and when people leave, they wind up getting it at the next real estate company that they work for. Well, that organic growth over time is just a huge benefit from a usability standpoint, feedback standpoint, and everything with your users. Well, now switch that to some startup that gets $1 million in funding, and they got to take. People don't realize this, but they've got to take 50% of that and go buy users, basically. Go out there
to
and
show growth.
Sell the crap out of them.
Right.
And they have shiny presentations, and they have use cases, and they have all of this stuff. And so it's a little bit overwhelming if you're the person on the other end buying software or whatever. Mm-hmm. You tend to get a little dazzled. You say, oh wow, man, look at how great their marketing is. Look at how great their product looks and everything else. And then you go get the product, and it winds up that the company is spending so much on marketing. Mm-hmm. They're not spending anything on customer support. They're not spending anything on new features. They're not spending anything on, and now you're
bug correction, error correction, or even initial setup and integration, right?
Yeah. And now you're just stuck with a dog, right?
Right. It's funny you say that. I sat in a presentation one time for a marketing automation software, and man, it was an amazing presentation. I wanted to take his presentation at the end of it and steal it, but of course I didn't. But it was amazing, and at the end he says, we're going to give everybody a deal today. If you sign up, the setup fee is only going to be $2,500 to sign up, and it's only going to be $400 a month. And these are not exaggerations. That's the actual numbers he put out there, right? Yeah. To utilize this software, and there were about 400
high pressure.
Yeah. Right? Well. I don't even know that it was high pressure. There were about 400 people in the room, and it was just such a great presentation. I mean, he did an amazing job, and all of these people hopped up, and there must have been 80 or 90 people got up and went and stood in line to shell out $2,500 and $400 a month for a minimum of a year. And then the worst part of it, in my opinion, the company did great, right?
Yep.
We had a friend that signed up as well, and at the end of the day, that person was paying a lot to do some customization and some integration, and so shelling out even more money on top of what they had already spent. And it was just like, I mean, I don't know in the end that it was worth it to that person, because it didn't help their business as much as they thought it would.
Well, I think that brings another topic that has to do with these silver bullets and everything else, is pricing.
Right.
And I think a lot of people overestimate and underestimate pricing and what it means to the quality of a platform.
Right.
So we work across the spectrum with startups that have almost no resources, all the way to these huge companies that have tens of millions of dollars.
Right.
And it's surprising, like marketing automation, like what you were talking about. We have some companies that are on $130 a month product.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible.
Amazing, right?
And then we have companies that are on a $10,000 a month product, and they're buying services to make it work.
To fit it to their model, instead of picking something that fit their model or that could be customized to fit their model, they're trying to adapt their business to work with the software.
And so there's
that's terribly painful.
There's a real pricing disparity that it maybe it fakes people out with these silver bullets,
because it's a perceived value.
Yeah. So where do you guys start with Agent Sauce?
We start in the $30 range.
So $30 range, someone might come and say, well, $30 range, man, that can't possibly be good as this one that's $2,000 a month.
Right.
And they're wrong.
Yes, they are. They're absolutely wrong.
And the reason why that one is $2,000 a month is, they've got a huge sales force. They've got all this overhead, all of this marketing, all this everything, whereas you're taking and reinvesting, your subscriptions right back into development of new features and stuff.
Well, development, cost management, streamlining, and all those things that any business owner should do, as opposed to what you see, getting back to the startups, they get that money in their pocket. It's like it's burning a hole in them.
Yeah.
And they got to find a way to spend it to justify why they got it and what they're doing. And a lot of times they leave fiscal responsibility behind when they do that. And
if they've got investors, they've got to pay those investors back someday. So they've got to have massive growth, for that. And that's, I'm not definitely not bad mouthing that business model. All I'm saying is that what we see in the industry, and it's not just real estate marketing, it's all marketing, is we just see these huge disparities in cost. And you see it even with agencies.
Right.
One agency might charge $25,000. We've seen people charge over $100,000 for a average website.
Right.
That our agency might be able to build for $10,000 or $15,000 an effort. And we still profit off of that fairly well. And so it's just a matter of those I think you got to be a savvy consumer or a savvy business person. If you're a real estate agent, focus on features. Focus on, what can I do with this? What kind of training do I get with it? How big can I have it? How many contacts can I have in your system? How many emails can I send? Because if you're not paying attention to those tangibles, someone that could be paying, let's say they're up to, $50 a month in your system, they go to some other system and start at, 30 or 40, and all of a sudden they're getting bills for 150 and 200 and 300 as they keep growing.
Right. And one of the things I would say to that is the features are absolutely important. But at the same time, figuring out how you're going to benefit from those features is probably the most important.
Well, that's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to. So, like you were saying, hey, I got 20, I can get up to 2,500 contacts. That's great. Now what can I do with that? Can I send out enough emails in order to have an impact on my business? Are the emails, am I able to track who's opening and all that, so that I can, yet again, the benefit of it is knowing who's interacting and engaged, so that I can follow up. So it's features, but it's benefits too.
Well, that's what I meant. I definitely meant pay attention to, how are you going to use the system? Write it down.
Right.
Say, my goal for this year is that, within 3 months, I'm going to have a great email program that I'm going to continue to grow, every month. Okay. How does this system help me achieve that?
Right.
Right. And we always tell people, like, plot it down and then figure out how many resources you need.
Right.
That's the other one is
To achieve that.
yeah. So if you get one of these silver bullet systems, and who knows, maybe you got a phone, tree or something like that, and they go, oh yeah, we support that. And you find out after you sign that all of a sudden you've got to get development money to add that feature or whatever. Those are the types of things that you just don't realize. And so you got to make sure that in the buying process, you're plotting out, how am I going to use this system? How am I going to deploy it? What resources do I need for it? And ask all of those questions, because the silver bullet, chances are you're going to find out that there might be a couple things lacking, or it's pay per integration, pay per, oh, we can do that.
Sure,
we can do that is different
Mm-hmm.
than that's right out of the box.
Right. It's
That's
different than it's included. Yeah,
right.
exactly. So, and it's funny to me because as we sit here talking and say that there's really no silver bullet to marketing, the one thing that rises to mind that actually is a silver bullet is working hard at it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Well, and that's with your system. Like, you can grow with the system, right?
Right.
So you can start with email, then start to do virtual tours, then start to,
Right.
do pamphlets and print and
lead generation.
lead
It's
generation.
it's CRM, customer relationship management,
Yeah.
and then it's lead generation, and then it's full blown marketing automation.
And so the
right?
nice thing is without spending more and more and more and more, you can sit there and have, you can enable certain features over time and get better and better at your marketing.
Right, and in the end, you're going to get out of it what you put into
Right.
it, right? So if you're out there working the system and working yourself, then it's going to work for you tremendously.
Yeah.
But the same thing goes for anything. From a silver bullet perspective, there really is only one silver bullet to
That's you.
anything, and it is you. It's your hard work and effort
Right.
that you put into it. And I think that's probably the most important takeaway is to realize that technology's there to make it easier for you,
Yeah.
but it's not going to do it for you.
It's
so
your-
you
it's
have
your-
to do it.
It's your toolbox, right?
Exactly.
And I can buy the best, most expensive Snap-on toolkit in the world. It doesn't mean that I can change my oil.
Well, I was going to go with that wrench doesn't make a great hammer, but it may work.
Right.
It may get it there, but
Right.
it's not going to be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because that nail's going to be bent up and that wood's going to be chewed up, and it's not going to be real pretty when you're
Exactly.
done. So I mean, in the end, having the right tool for the right job, and that's really what it comes down to. And making sure that you recognize when you're looking at things from a silver bullet perspective, because it's easy. Like I said, that guy did a heck of a presentation and a lot of people signed up, and
We see it every day.
so
We see, our clients go, oh my God, this, we had a prospect once that came to us and they said, oh my gosh, I found someone in Colorado that has an agency that takes care of our industry. That's all they do. This is the best thing ever. And we're like, well, we're right around the corner. We could actually meet with you and help you and everything else. Oh, no. These guys have all the connections. These guys, everything, I was like, okay, and we thought that we could help that client. They went with the silver bullet, spent a lot of money. And then 3 months later, they, had to fire him. And it wasn't what they thought. And I think it's this is a terrible. So I'm going to go with a terrible analogy.
okay,
it's
do a
dating.
terrible now.
It's dating, right?
Well, you know
And
what?
those
it is
first
dating.
dates are wonderful,
Right, right.
But then the guy starts picking his teeth, on that third date, and you're wondering what's going on, and then he starts belching on the fourth date, and scratching his butt, and eventually you start going, what is going on with it? And you dump him, and that's I think I don't think it's a terrible analogy. It's just a off color one.
Right.
But that's what it is with platforms.
It absolutely is, and what we see a lot with that is you might even call it a silver bullet syndrome, or speed dating, right?
Yeah.
Where where somebody will hop on board, and if it's not making them millions right then and there, and they're not putting a ton of effort doing what they need to do or
Right.
whatever, then they move on to the next thing, instead of giving it a full chance.
Exactly.
Number one, number two. having really identified that it was a good person to be dating to begin with.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So
yeah. And so you got to spend time with someone and eventually see whether they're a match or not.
Right,
It's
and
the same thing
that
here.
goes back to what you were saying. With make sure you understand all the benefits and features and what all you're truly getting when you're signing up for something. So,
Yep.
Okay, well,
I think we beat the silver bullet to death.
I'm sure it'll rear its ugly head again. So, but yeah, I think we have for now. So, well, thanks for joining us today, Doug. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
And thanks for listening to the Real Estate Marketing Podcast by Agent Sauce. If you want to learn more about us, go to agentsauce.com. See us on Facebook at facebook.com/agentsauce. Thanks.